Welcome to Costa Rica. Today, we're going to be visiting a local tribe and learning about plant medicine and chocolate. We'll be joining with Billy and Rebecca from Cahuita Experience, and they're going to take us on a nice tour. And today, we're going to be learning about the Bribri Tribe. And the seed he's using is referred to as the monkey ladder or the sea heart. And the Bribri use this for whistles and also for decoration purposes. As you can see here, there's different types of tools for hunting. Like this one is for fish, so once the fish gets stabbed, it doesn't fall out. The following one is going to be for birds. This one stabs the bird, and the arrow falls back down with the bird, so they can retrieve the arrow. And for big game, which needs a larger damage and a wound, like deer, this one's used. And the branch you see here is called chonta, which is actually a tree that actually moves through the jungle. This is fabric from a tree bark that is softened, and then it's used for clothing and other materials. There's also a particular way they cut the bark so the tree can stay alive. This is it here before it's processed, so it just looks like a very thin slice of bark. And finally, the blowgun, which is one of my favorites. This one is used to hunt birds and small animals, and when it comes to larger prey, that's when they start using the poison arrow frog.
Hoy sí comemos. Hoy sí.
And the plant here is referred to as either hita or cabuya, depending on the size of it. And as you can see, there's this like stringy material from the inside. It's very dark and green and longer when it is in the wild. And you can see here what it looks like. And to process this, they use the chonta stick from earlier to scrape off any like green or plant material, slowly exposing the material they're going to use. As you can see here, it's very stringy and sturdy. From the top, you scrape everything off, wash it very, very good, and it turns white. And as you can see here, it completely changes. This is what they use for the bows. It's so strong that it could even tie horses together, and of course, sew clothing. And this is achote, also known as annatto seeds, used in culinary arts for coloring and also for flavors. The tribe uses this for medicinal purposes when it comes to treatment of things like diabetes. And what you see here is a tiny little flower that will eventually become a pod for cacao, which is going to be used for chocolate.
Diciembre. Y cacao,
And it takes about 8 days after picking the seeds to allow them to ferment and get ready for cultivation. And the jungle is vast. It has so many things for them to use, including cacao, chocolate, and everything else that they need. And this special tree is used for fire. A little piece of the bark is taken away and used to light. It almost holds a candle-like feel, so you light it like a wick, and then you can start many, many fires.
Yo tenía 10 años.
And this is the chonta, the tree that walks. The roots go looking for moisture or like a riverbed and slowly start spreading themselves amongst the forest. This one took about 20 years to move. And now one of my favorite trees. What's cool is that iguanas and snakes use the little spines to kind of like pierce their skin so they can renew their skin. Look at these little needles. These are used, of course, for the darts. And the Bribri tribe used everything here. Look at the trees. This leaf is definitely going to be used. Check it out.
Por ejemplo, ese árbol, ¿verdad? Ese árbol que está aquí.
Original Velcro.
Yeah, if you want to take it, take it.
Ahí uno se
Put it
sube.
on here.
Ahí uno se sube ahí.
So depending on the size, they try to preserve it. So just make minimal wounds. This is used for clothing and other materials. Now remember the bark from earlier? This is the tree it's cut from. And this is the crescentia fruit. It's hollowed out and dried, usually used for making bowls or even drinking containers. It also has medicinal purposes. And now I present you the many frogs of Costa Rica. Poison dart frogs like warm and humid environments. Scientists believe that the poison comes from their diet, which includes termites, flies, beetles, and things like that.
There is one small here.
And not all frogs are poisonous. You have the famous red-eyed tree frog. There's like a masked tree frog. And the red one's called strawberry poison dart frog. The gestation period is about 10 to 18 days. Parents normally stick around and guard the eggs, making sure they don't dry out. A lot of the poison dart frogs live from 10 to 15 years. But all poison frog species carry their tadpoles on their backs. The green and black dart frog. It's been known that some species can actually kill up to 20 grown adults. The shaman, known as Awa, are the spiritual leaders, healers, and the wisdom of the tribe. The rings leading up to the sky allow the shaman to connect to the universe and lead the tribe. Their singing aligns the spiritual trinity, A number of pillars have a significant symbolism. And as you see, there are many plants used as plant medicine. These small things are called nimbre, and they're sweet and sour. And of course, star fruit. The only thing is they were quite green. They weren't in season, but this is what the tree looks like. Normally, they'll be nice and bright when it's time to eat them. And finally, to the cacao. Here we're going to see how we make chocolate. It starts from a little tiny flower that eventually becomes a little bulb that becomes the popular cacao. Let's check it out. This is what the inside of the pod looks like. If you ever wonder where cacao comes from, this is it. It takes about 8 days for the cacao beans to be ready. They'll have a slight fermentation smell, like a slight vinegar, and then they become roasted. Step 1 is to have a very hot wood fire, and you gotta make sure you continually stir, because it'll be very, very hot. You don't need oil, you don't need fat, butter. All you need is a nice hot pan and making sure you keep stirring. And then you stir and stir and keep stirring away. But eventually you get your turn. But keep stirring, making sure you don't mess it up. Stir, stir, stir. What you have to do is listen for the pop. Eventually, the things start popping. As you keep going, more and more and more, they'll continue to pop and pop and pop. It looks delicious, doesn't it? You should be here for the smell. It smells so good.
Huelan esto un poco. Smell.
And here,
Llega un poco de olor a chocolate.
so it starts to smell like chocolate.
Huelan, a ver qué. ¿Cómo lo vamos a hacer?
Roasted cacao is dark and bitter.
Esperamos, amigos, si tú llegas a mi casa y yo no tengo mucho tiempo para prepararte algo para comer. Aquí, esta batea te la dejo aquí.
So Billy and Rebecca hand us slices of banana,
Okay. Ahí vienen sus bajas una persona.
and then we put roasted bean inside of the banana,
Y se lo doy a usted.
and it's so good. And to make it even better and closer to chocolate,
Las manos aquí arriba y solo la balanceamos. La llevamos
we begin by crushing the roasted cacao beans with a huge rock.
vamos haciendo así.
It does take some time to break them down, but with patience,
I like how you asked me.
it ends up being quite fun, being part of the process.
You guys gonna help me as well.
So make sure to jump right in and start helping out. Now, do you see why you need patience? It is a long process, but eventually get it right, you have chocolate. Once you're done, the little small casings fly out since they do weigh less than the beans. Now it's time for the magic. Nothing beats grinding down cacao the old-fashioned way. It eventually becomes a paste.
Ok, amigos, ¿qué más es el siguiente?
A moler el chocolate.
Puedes cantar la canción de Dora, ¿verdad? Bate, bate, chocolate.
And of course I couldn't help myself. But Rebecca hooked it up. And this paste is still a little bit bitter. The help of the banana makes it a little bit sweeter. If you do want chocolate, this is the time where you normally add the milk, butters, spices and sugars and things like that. This has a little bit of cinnamon spice in it. Billy says the best way to have it is as a hot cacao.
This is a tree that the branches grow in this way. A lot of people think that it's a root, and this is the stem.
And there you have it, folks.
I'm gonna put a little bit more chocolate because I like it strong.
Now, you know that from such a little flour, you get amazing pots to make chocolate. Thanks to the Bribri Tribe.
Estás castigado. No hiciste bien tu trabajo.